Good evening, everyone. My name is Marissa Strellendorf, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about something that has affected all of us, something that has turned all of our everyday lives upside down and has changed basically every day as we currently know it. I'm going to talk to you about COVID 19 and why I believe that this virus was not man made. Now, back in early January, the news began reporting about a mystery illness in one of China's largest industrial cities, Wuhan, China. Now, Wuhan, China is a city of 11 million people, and it's actually been compared to the Chicago of China due to its geography and location. On December 31st, the Wuhan government confirmed that health authorities were treating dozens of cases of a pneumonia of unknown cause. Symptoms of this new illness included high fever, difficulty breathing, and lung lesions. According to the Wuhan Health Commission, no deaths had been reported, but many people were critically ill. At first, the Chinese health officials were pretty quiet about this. They weren't saying much. And it wasn't until an emergency notice that was sent to city hospitals was shared on some social media sites that triggered some public panic for all this. Now, this illness appeared just weeks before the Spring Festival. This is the country's biggest holiday when tens of millions of people travel. Now, the authorities urge the public to be on alert for pneumonia-like symptoms like fever, body aches, and breathing difficulties. Suddenly, workers wearing hazmat suits disinfected and shut down the Huanan seafood market in Wuhan, China, claiming that many cases were traced back to this very wet market. The market also sold poultry, pheasants, and wild meats. Viruses that cause SARS and the H7N9 strain of bird flu in humans were first detected in markets like this that sold live animals back in 2003 when that whole SARS epidemic was going on. And they said that, infected animals was the likeliest source of transmission. What exactly are these wet markets? Well, it turns out that they're not just an Asian phenomenon. They're popular in many countries. There are similar markets all over the world. This is a place where live animals are slaughtered and butchered right on the premises. Live fish swim around in open tubs of water. The countertops are colored red with blood because the fish are gutted and filleted right there in front of the customer. Live turtles and crustaceans are seen in boxes all over the market, climbing all over each other, and the floors tend to be covered in slush due to all the melting ice. There's a lot of water, blood, fish scales, and chicken guts. Customers can even select a living bird from a cage. The bird is then held upside down by its feet to show the customer the plumpness of the chicken breasts. If the customer likes what he sees, a plastic number is placed on the chicken's leg and the customer is given a matching number. They're told to come back 15 minutes later where they can pick up their fresh chicken meat. Unfortunately, these markets can be problematic for several reasons. First off, the markets tend to have many different types of animals. Some are wild and some are domesticated. Some are even native to that part of Asia, while some are not native to that part of Asia. But the stress of captivity can weaken animals' immune system. Viruses from different species can mingle, swap bits of their DNA, and spread from one species to another. When this happens, a new strain of animal virus can begin in humans and an outbreak like this can occur. Researchers believe that the new virus mutated from a coronavirus common in animals and passed over to humans in Wuhan. Although there is ongoing debate about the exact origins of the virus, the scientific community suggests that bats are responsible for spreading the virus to other mammals and humans in the wet markets of Wuhan. There is also some evidence to support that the host is a scaly anteater called a pangolin. Regardless of the host, the crossover to humans is undisputable. People were getting sick in Wuhan and people were dying. On January 23rd, authorities placed Wuhan under quarantine. The order prevented any buses or trains from coming or leaving the city. All planes at the Wuhan airport were also grounded. Car travel was limited the next day as well. According to the World Health Organization, these efforts to quarantine the city will help Chinese authorities minimize the chances of this virus spreading internationally. I remember hearing about all this madness going on in China, people dying in the streets. It was crazy. Certainly nothing like this could ever happen here, right? Well, sure enough, 5 U.S. airports began screening passengers for the virus. Travel was restricted in many areas. According to Eric Toner, a senior scientist at Johns Hopkins University, any travel restrictions are likely to be ineffective. 5 million people had already left the city of Wuhan before they were put on lockdown. One of the biggest challenges with this outbreak is that many people show only mild symptoms, yet they are still infecting others. About 85% of infected travelers went undetected, researchers believe, yet they were still contagious. The virus started spreading locally across the United States before we knew it, moving easily in confined places like churches and restaurants, infecting people who had not traveled to China at all. This was the start of a pandemic, a global outbreak of disease. According to New Jersey's COVID-19 Information Hub, Governor Phil Murphy ordered all public and private schools to close in an effort to contain the spread of COVID-19. Now, this was effective March 18th. This means that my 8 and 9-year-old daughters were no longer going to school every day. They were being homeschooled by me. All their classes were on Google Classroom, and it was just a huge adjustment for parents all over. And as you all know, all of our schooling at Rowan College is now moved to an online model as well. Again, another huge adjustment. And actually, our school has become a drive-through for COVID-19 testing. Pretty crazy. Only essential businesses are allowed to be open right now. I actually work in a restaurant, so I'm currently not working because it's a small family-owned restaurant, and just the family's trying to do some takeout and see if it works. But will they make it? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. There are, with all these essential businesses, being allowed to be open, but the non-essential businesses are not. What does this mean? This means that there's no more dinners out, there's no more play dates, no more socialization, essentially. We all must practice social distancing according to the Center for Disease Control. What does this mean? This means that we all must stay at least 6 feet away from each other. We cannot gather in groups. We must avoid crowded places. We must take all these precautions because COVID-19 spreads among people who are within 6 feet of each other. The virus spreads when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks, and droplets from their mouth or nose are launched into the air and land in the mouth or noses of people nearby. The droplets can also be inhaled into the lungs. COVID-19 may also be transmitted by touching a surface or object that has the virus on it, then touching your own mouth, nose, or eyes. The virus can live for hours or days depending on certain factors, such as sunlight and humidity. I never thought I would see a day where everyone inside is wearing a mask. Actually, if you're not wearing a mask, you kind of look like the outsider. And I believe that soon we are going to be required to wear a mask. I just read something the other day that if you don't have a mask on, that the store could ask you to leave. It's pretty insane. The virus COVID 19 is the seventh coronavirus found so far that is capable of infecting humans. Four of them produce much milder symptoms, while the other three can lead to much more severe conditions. In the months since COVID 19 turned up in Wuhan, China, there have been so many speculations on its origins. Some wondered whether the strain stemmed from lab or other non natural sources. Research has concluded that the virus is a product of natural evolution. So, meaning any speculation that this virus is a product of deliberate engineering it's not so. I hope that all of us get through this healthy and happy, and hopefully we all make it through this. I know we will. And take care, everybody.